Let me tell you something straight from the heart. When you reach your 60s, life starts whispering to you in ways it never did before. It speaks softly but clearly. And if you listen, really listen, you'll realize that some of the things you used to chase, hold on to, or worry about just don't make sense anymore. I'm not saying life is over at 60. No, sir. I'm saying it's just different. And if you want to feel lighter, freer, and more at peace, you've got to let go of certain things. Not because you're giving up, but because they've served their purpose. They're just not necessary anymore. So today, I want to share 6 things you don't need after turning 60. Not to preach, but to pass on what I've learned. Maybe it'll save you some time. Maybe it'll help you feel a little more at ease. That's all I hope. First, you don't need to keep proving yourself. That burden can be so heavy. All through your life, you're trying to show the world that you're capable, that you're strong, that you're successful. It starts when you're a kid, trying to get the approval of parents or teachers. Then it shifts to your job, your family, your community, always chasing recognition, always wanting people to say you did good. I spent years of my life doing that, climbing ladders, earning titles, putting my health and peace on the line to keep up an image. But after 60, I realized that those medals and compliments don't bring you lasting peace. What really matters is how you feel about yourself when you lay your head down at night. Are you kind? Are you honest? Did you show up for the people who count? You've got nothing left to prove. You are already enough. You've lived, you've endured, you've learned. That's more than enough. Second, you don't need to hold on to grudges. Listen, I know. People have done you wrong. They've lied, hurt you, left you out in the cold. Some wounds go deep, and I'm not saying those wounds don't matter. I'm saying carrying them around is like dragging a sack of bricks everywhere you go. I held a grudge against a close friend for over 15 years. Every time I thought of him, my chest tightened. But one day I asked myself, why am I still carrying this? He probably sleeps just fine at night, and here I am losing peace over something that can't be undone. So I called him. We didn't become best friends again, but I let it go. And let me tell you, I felt 20 pounds lighter. After 60, you need your heart to be light. You need room in your chest for joy, not bitterness. Forgiveness isn't saying it was okay. It's saying you're done letting it eat away at you. Third, you don't need a closet full of stuff you never use. This one might sound small, but it's not. I had a garage filled with tools I hadn't touched in a decade. Closets packed with clothes I thought I might wear again someday. Shelves full of knickknacks and souvenirs from trips I barely remembered. I used to say, I might need this one day, but that day never came. One day I looked around and thought, why am I keeping all this? It's just clutter. So I started giving things away, to my kids, to neighbors, to charity. And each box I packed up, I felt clearer. It was like I was making space in my soul, not just my house. After 60, you start realizing that what you own can own you. What you need is comfort, simplicity, and space to breathe. The memories live in your heart, not in your attic. Fourth, you don't need toxic relationships. This one's a tough pill to swallow, but it's one of the most freeing. We all have people in our lives who drain us. Maybe it's an old friend who only calls when they need something. Maybe it's a family member who makes you feel small. Maybe it's someone you've held on to out of guilt or habit. I used to think loyalty meant sticking it out no matter what. But now I understand. Loyalty doesn't mean letting someone harm your spirit. You get to choose who's in your circle. And after 60, you ought to choose people who lift you up, who make you laugh, who listen, who respect your boundaries. Time is precious, and the people you spend it with should be too. Don't let guilt keep you tethered to pain. Fifth, you don't need to chase trends or keep up appearances. I see folks around me trying to stay young by force, buying the latest gadgets, following fads they don't even like, dressing like they're 20 when they're not. And listen, there's nothing wrong with keeping yourself well. I still take pride in how I look, but there's a difference between caring for yourself and pretending you're someone else. You don't have to chase relevance. You are relevant. Your value doesn't come from how current you are. It comes from your wisdom, your experience, the way you've survived things others haven't even faced yet. There's something beautiful about being your age and owning it, walking with grace, speaking with clarity, being comfortable in your own skin. That's power. That's freedom. Sixth, and maybe most important of all, you don't need to fear what comes next. Fear of the future is a quiet thief. It sneaks in and robs you of today. I used to lie awake at night thinking about what might go wrong. My health, my money, my family. I worried about being alone, about being forgotten. But here's the truth I've come to learn. The future will come no matter what, and most of the things I feared never even happened. What did happen? I laughed. I watched the sun rise more times than I can count. I held my grandkids. I found joy in the small things, the way my wife's hand feels in mine, the sound of rain on the roof, a good cup of coffee on a quiet morning. After 60, you realize that today is more than enough. You don't need to have all the answers. You just need to be present. You've come this far. You can trust yourself to keep going. I'm not saying life after 60 is easy. It has its aches, its losses, but it also has clarity. It has the kind of joy that only comes when you stop chasing and start appreciating. When you stop collecting things and start collecting moments. When you stop trying to be everything to everyone and just start being yourself. I've learned that simplicity is not a loss. It's a gain. It's the clearing away of noise so you can hear what really matters. So if you're 60 or getting close, or even if you've passed that mark, take a breath, look around, and ask yourself, what am I still holding on to that I don't need? What can I release to make room for peace, for laughter, for love? You've earned the right to live lighter, to walk slower, to love deeper. You've earned the right to choose what matters and to let go of what doesn't. Because in the end, it's not the things we owned, the titles we earned, or the battles we won that stay with us. It's the quiet moments, the honest conversations, the hands we held, the times we chose peace over pride. That's the real wealth of a life well lived. And I hope you find that wealth in your own way. One step, one choice, one day at a time. Now let's clear some common questions. Do I fear the future because I doubt myself? Or because I've forgotten how much I've already survived? Ah, child, sit with me for a moment and let an old man speak. Your question stirs something deep in my bones. It echoes down corridors of memory I thought I had locked long ago. You ask, do I fear the future because I doubt myself, or because I've forgotten how much I've already survived? That is no simple question. That is the kind of question that can keep a person staring at the ceiling in the darkest hours before dawn. I know. I have been there, too many times to count. And if you're asking it, then you are likely standing at some crossroads, heart beating like a war drum, unsure which road leads to freedom and which to ruin. Let me tell you something I've learned, not from books or speeches, but from years of waking up to heartbreak, to joy, to silence, to noise that never lets up. We fear the future because it is unknown, and humans are cursed with the hunger to know, to control, to predict. But life has never cared for our plans. The winds shift, the ground shakes, people leave, bodies break, dreams fall apart. And still, here we are, still breathing. That's the part we forget. We forget what we have survived. We forget the nights we thought would be the end, and yet the sun still rose. We forget how many times our own hearts cracked and mended like old pottery, stronger at the broken places. I remember being young just like you, sharp-eyed, full of questions. I doubted myself every time something went wrong. Every failure, every heartbreak, every rejection felt like a verdict. You're not enough. You're not ready. You'll never make it. Those words drilled holes in my spirit. I thought my doubt was proof that I wasn't built for the fight ahead. But here's the truth I learned slowly, painfully. Doubt is not weakness. Doubt is the storm that tests the roots of a tree. If you have never doubted, you have never really tried. And if you have doubted and still move forward, then you have already proven your strength, even if you don't feel it yet. I have buried friends and held my breath at hospital bedsides. I have lost jobs, lost homes, lost pieces of myself I thought I could not live without. But I have also danced in kitchens with the love of my life. I have heard my children laugh. I have seen the sky painted in colors too beautiful to describe. And through it all, I kept going. Not because I never feared the future, but because I remembered something vital. I had already survived so much, so much. The world will try to make you forget that. It will whisper that you are not ready. It will compare your journey to others and convince you that you are behind, that you are broken. But that voice lies. What we forget too easily is the quiet courage it takes just to get out of bed some mornings. We forget the invisible battles we fight every single day, the grief we carry silently, the disappointments we swallow, the dreams we bury because they feel too fragile to share. These are not signs of failure. These are signs of survival, of endurance, of a spirit that refuses to be extinguished. And sometimes that is enough. Just holding on is enough. You have already survived your worst day. Think about that. The worst thing that has ever happened to you is behind you, and yet you are still here, breathing, hoping, asking questions. That alone is a kind of miracle. I won't lie to you. The future will bring hardship. It always does. But it will also bring beauty you cannot yet imagine. People you haven't met. Moments that will steal your breath with their sweetness. So don't let fear close your eyes to what might go right. Doubt yourself if you must. That is part of being human. But do not forget who you are and what you have endured. That fire in your belly, that ache in your chest, that stubborn little voice that says, keep going, even when everything hurts. That is who you truly are. I have sat by the fire on long nights with nothing but regret to keep me company. I have cursed the stars. I have prayed into silence. I have begged the heavens for one more chance. And still, life gave it to me. Maybe not in the form I asked, but in the form I needed. And I look at my scars now, not as signs of weakness, but as reminders. Reminders that I have bled and healed and bled again. That I did not give up, even when I had every reason to. That I have known sorrow and joy and chose, again and again, to keep walking. So the next time you fear the future, ask yourself this: what have I already survived? List them if you must. Every broken bone, every goodbye, every sleepless night, every time you thought it was over and it wasn't, every quiet triumph, every time you stood back up. That list is longer than you think. That list is your proof. And when you doubt yourself, and you will, remember that you are not alone. Every soul you admire has doubted themselves too. Every strong man, every wise woman, every brave heart. We are not made of steel, we are made of stories. And every story worth telling has chapters filled with fear and doubt and darkness. But they also have chapters of victory, of light, of love. You are writing your story right now. And I, this old man, am telling you something true. Fear is not the enemy. Forgetting your strength is. So when the night gets long and the road ahead looks cruel, dig into your memory. Remember what you have faced, and let that remind you who you are. Not perfect, not fearless, but alive, resilient, still reaching for the light. That, my dear child, is enough. That is more than enough. What legacy do I want to leave behind? And am I spending my time today building that, or just staying busy? Now that is a question worth wrestling with. What legacy do I want to leave behind? And am I spending my time today building that, or just staying busy? That's not the kind of question you answer in a moment or with a smile. That's the kind that creeps into your bones late at night when the world has gone quiet and your thoughts are too loud to ignore. I've asked myself that more times than I care to admit. And let me tell you, most of us, for far too long, get it wrong. We confuse motion for meaning. We think being busy is the same as being purposeful. We chase calendars, deadlines, errands. And somewhere along the line, we forget what we were chasing to begin with. I used to think legacy was about something big. Something with your name etched in stone or printed in history books. I thought maybe it was about money, status, achievements that others would admire. But as the years passed and I buried people I loved, I realized that no one stands at a grave talking about how many meetings a man attended or how clean his inbox was. They talk about how he made them feel, whether he showed up when it mattered, whether he loved them deeply and honestly. That's legacy. That's the echo of a life well lived. And it doesn't require grand gestures. It requires presence, kindness, consistency. I wish someone had told me that when I was younger. I spent too many years chasing things that didn't matter in the end, running from one task to another, always afraid that if I slowed down, I'd fall behind. I was busy, all right, but I wasn't building anything that would last beyond me. I was laying bricks, but no foundation, filling days, but not hearts. It took me too long to understand the difference. And time, well, time is a thief when you don't pay attention. You look up and decades have passed. Children grow while you're stuck at the office. Friends drift while you're too tired to call. Dreams fade while you check things off a list someone else made for you. The question isn't just what kind of legacy you want to leave. It's whether you're living each day in alignment with that vision. And that takes brutal honesty. Not the kind you post on social media, the kind that hurts a little, the kind that asks, if I keep living like this, will I be proud of what I leave behind? Most of us avoid that kind of reflection because it demands change, and change is uncomfortable. But let me tell you something that only a long life will teach you. Comfort is not where greatness lives. It is not where love grows. It is not where legacies are born. I want my legacy to be love. Not the soft, easy kind, but the fierce kind. The kind that shows up when it's inconvenient. The kind that forgives. The kind that builds others up instead of tearing them down. I want to be remembered as someone who listened more than he spoke. Someone who made people feel seen, heard, valued. I want my children and their children to say, he made us feel safe. He made us feel like we mattered. That's it. That's everything. And every day I ask myself, am I doing that now? Or am I just busy? Am I reaching out to the people who need me? Am I giving my time to what matters or just what's urgent? There is a difference between living intentionally and just surviving the day. And I won't pretend it's easy. Life throws more at us than we expect. Bills need paying, responsibilities stack up, and it is so easy to lose sight of what matters when you're just trying to stay afloat. But that's when legacy matters most. When things are hard, that's when your character is revealed. That's when the seeds you plant will one day grow into stories your grandchildren tell about you. I've known men who were rich in things, but poor in relationships. They left behind houses full of stuff and hearts full of resentment. I've also known men who didn't have a penny to their name, but left behind a trail of kindness that lit up every room they ever walked into. Which one do you think left the bigger mark? Which one do you think still lives on in the laughter and love of others? Legacy is not measured in monuments. It is measured in moments, in quiet sacrifices, in the people who still smile when they hear your name. So ask yourself truly, what do you want to leave behind? And be specific. Don't give me vague hopes and someday dreams. Write it down if you must. Do you want to be known for your courage? Then do something brave today. Do you want to be remembered for your kindness? Then stop what you're doing and call someone you've been meaning to check on. Don't wait. Time is not a guarantee, it is a gift. And every moment you spend chasing the wrong things is a moment you don't get back. I know this sounds heavy, and maybe it is, but it is also liberating. You get to choose, right now, today, what kind of life you want to live, what kind of story you want to tell, and what kind of legacy you want to leave behind. You don't have to have all the answers, but you do have to be brave enough to ask the right questions. And this, my dear one, is one of them. Do not stay busy just to feel alive. Live, fully, messily, honestly. Build something that matters, a family, a friendship, a cause, a piece of art, a truth. Whatever speaks to your soul, and then protect it, nurture it, give it your best, because someday when your time is done and the world grows quiet, that is what will remain. Not your schedule, not your status, but your soul, the love you gave, the light you left behind, and the people you helped become more of who they were meant to be. That is your legacy. That is what endures. So ask the question again tomorrow. Ask it next week. Ask it when the noise of the world tries to distract you. Let it be your compass. And never forget that even the smallest act, done with great love, can ripple out far beyond your lifetime. You still have time. Use it well. If today was all I had, would I feel at peace with how I've loved, let go, and lived? Now there's a question that could stop a man in his tracks. If today was all I had, would I feel at peace with how I've loved, let go, and lived? You don't get many questions like that in the rush of everyday life. Most people are too busy hurrying somewhere, chasing something they might not even want once they catch it. But that question, that one makes you sit still. It makes you quiet. It makes you look at your life like it's a story already written. And you're asking if you're proud of the pages so far. And let me tell you, as an old man who's seen more sunsets than he has left, that question has haunted me more than once. There was a time I thought I'd live forever. Not in the literal sense, but in that way, youth makes you feel untouchable. There's always tomorrow. Another call to make it right. Another chance to say the words you've been holding in your chest like stones. But then life starts taking from you. People leave. Doors close. Regret builds like rust. And suddenly you realize tomorrow is not a promise. It's a hope. And you start to ask, did I really love with my whole heart? Did I let go of the things that were too heavy to carry? Did I live, not just exist, but live in a way that brought light to others and peace to myself? When I think of love, I don't just mean the kind that makes your heart race. That's part of it, sure. I've been lucky enough to know that kind of love, the kind that makes you forget where you are when they walk into a room. But love is bigger than romance. Love is choosing someone over and over again. It's staying when it's hard. It's forgiving when you've been hurt. It's holding a friend's hand in a hospital waiting room. It's writing a letter when your voice would break. I've learned that love is not always loud. Often it's quiet, steady. It's in the everyday moments, the shared meals, the thoughtful gestures, the way you make space for someone else's soul. I've failed at love too, plenty of times. I've let pride get in the way. I've walked away when I should have stayed. I've said things I cannot take back. But I've also learned to say I'm sorry and mean it. I've learned that no one gets it right all the time, but you damn well better try. If today were my last day, I'd ask myself not if I loved perfectly, but if I loved honestly. If the people in my life knew they mattered. If I showed up when it counted. And I think, for the most part, I have. Not always gracefully, not without mistakes, but with heart, with effort. Now letting go, that's a lesson that took me far longer to learn. I used to think holding on was strength, that clinging to old wounds, old dreams, old versions of myself was noble. But I see now that letting go is where the real strength lies. Letting go of bitterness, letting go of blame, letting go of people who left not because they were cruel, but because their part in your story was over. I've spent years weighed down by things I should have released long ago. It's like walking through life with a bag full of stones. You forget how heavy it is until you finally put it down. I remember one man I used to call a friend. We had a falling out. Nothing dramatic, just the slow fade of two people growing in different directions. For years, I carried resentment like a badge. Told myself I was right. But the truth is, I missed him. I missed what we had, and I let ego keep me from reaching out. I never got the chance to make it right. He passed suddenly, and with him went my chance to say, "You mattered to me. I forgive you. I hope you forgive me too." That taught me something painful and real. If you can let go, do it. Not for them, but for your own peace. As for living, that's the biggest piece of all, isn't it? We all think we're living just because we're breathing, but real living is something else entirely. Real living is being present. It's choosing experiences over safety sometimes. It's laughing too loud and crying when you need to, and dancing even when your knees hurt. It's chasing the things that make your heart beat a little faster. I spent too many years waiting for the right time, waiting for the right circumstances. But time doesn't wait for anyone. You blink and your kids are grown. You blink and your reflection belongs to a stranger. I've done some living, thank God. I've traveled roads I never planned to walk. I've stood in front of mountains and oceans and felt both tiny and infinite. I've made love under the stars. I've held newborns and said final goodbyes. I've laughed until my stomach hurt and cried, until I thought the tears would never stop. And through all of it, the good and the bad, I tried to stay open. That's living. Keeping your heart open to the world even when it hurts you, especially when it hurts you. So if today was all I had, Would I feel at peace? I think I would. Not because I lived a perfect life, but because I lived a full one. I didn't get everything right. I didn't love every person as well as I could have. I didn't let go of every burden when I should have. But I tried, and trying matters. I told people I loved them. I apologized when I was wrong. I followed the fire in my gut when it told me to leap. And I left a trail of stories behind me. Stories of love, of laughter, of letting go, of living. That's the thing, my dear one. Peace doesn't come from having all the answers. It comes from knowing you did your best with the time you had. It comes from knowing you didn't sleepwalk through your days, that you felt deeply, that you risked being broken so you could truly connect. So ask yourself that question every morning. Ask it and be brave enough to answer honestly. And if you don't like the answer, change something. Love harder. Let go sooner. Live fuller. Because this day, this moment, might be all you get. Make it count. If you liked today's discussion, don't forget to like the video. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, hit the subscribe button and the bell icon to stay updated with every video we release. And yes, don't forget to share your experiences and thoughts in the comments. Every comment is special to us. Your feedback helps us improve further. We'll continue to meet you in every new video on this channel. So until next time, take care.